Kash Patel just got nominated a couple of weeks ago by Trump.
FBI guy.
Yeah, to be the FBI director.
Okay.
And so I didn't know anything about this guy. And so I was on the news sites and stuff like that. I was reading about him and pretty negative.
Very controversial.
Yeah, that's what everyone was saying. So I heard that he went on the Sean Ryan podcast and got interviewed. So I went and listened to it. And this guy was quite high up in the intelligence scene of the government before. And I could not believe the amount of corruption that was happening in the government on like a high level. And so he talks about this on this podcast with Sean Ryan. And it really opened my eyes to like how corrupt the media really is and how much I'm still influenced by what mainstream media says. So like if I look at CBC News or CTV or Fox News or CNN, a lot of that stuff is completely false. So I just wanted to encourage people to go and listen to that podcast. So the Sean Ryan show.
You're gonna put a link in the
I'll put a link in the description, and it's he interviews Kash Patel. Anyway, so
is he for sure telling the truth, Kash Patel?
I mean, you have to take everything with a grain of salt, but from all the things he talks about are public records released by the government, and certain things that were like intentionally withheld for years, and like high level corruption at the highest levels. Yeah. So anyway, a couple of years ago, I went and did a coaching course in Toronto, and there was a lady there that worked in the for one of the 3 companies that does background checks for the U.S. government. So there's like, it's all privatized.
Yeah.
And she was very high up in one of those companies. And when I got to that course, she had heard that I met Trump, and she didn't barely even want to talk to me because of that. And at the end of the week, she was just like, "Oh, you're actually a pretty nice guy." And
it's interesting in the U.S. And I mean, this brings fear to like socialists and Canadians that are leaning in one political direction, but like everything's privatized in the US. And now there's huge issues with that.
Yeah.
There's huge benefits on the other side. Like we wouldn't have a postal strike that that we're having right now.
Yeah. On week 6.
On week 6. It's a total disaster. It's the epitome of cutting off your nose to spite your face, like or whatever. It's just a total disaster. Like they're slitting their own throat. It's really sad, actually. I'm a very, very slow adapter to change. Like I like when I have something and it's kind of working, I just keep chugging away at it, right? I don't adapt as quickly as I should. Yeah. And in our business, we are like mail checks. My bookkeeper that I have had for a long time still is our bookkeeper. She just likes doing the check thing. Well, we are now finally on week 6, right? Because we've been like driving checks around, delivering checks to people, collecting them ourselves. People have been very good to us. We're finally adapting. We're like, okay, let's get out the EFT info. Let's get the wiring info. Let's start doing e-transfers. Like, like I'm just one person out of 40 million. And I probably mail out, let's say $200 worth of postage a month, which is not a lot, but I mean, you multiply that. Well, I can tell you if you multiply it by 35 million, it's probably about 7 billion, right? Yeah. So, I mean, it's significant. It's significant. You don't want people like me not using the system. So I find it fascinating. But where I was going with that is like, even in the US, I own a stock called Geo Group, and they like run private prisons. And when Trump got elected, I don't watch stock portfolio that closely. The other day, I just happened to be in one of the things looking at it. Okay, it's up like 56% since the beginning of November because he's putting everybody in prison allegedly. Gun
companies stocks go down when Trump gets elected.
Why is that?
Because they're not
worried about it. There's no fear to buy the guns.
Yeah.
No FOMO.
But anyway, so going back to this lady at the course with, I sent her this podcast because I wanted to get someone. All the people I know in the U.S. are very pro-Trump, and so I knew that she was very.
You just sent her this podcast,
okay? Last week,
yeah.
And so she listened to it for an hour, and she's like, "Is this actually true? Like, is it worth like?" Do I keep listening to it? If this is actually true, that means that Republican presidents were also in on this corruption and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I'm like, yeah, that's what he says. He talks about all that. So anyway, she listened to the thing and she didn't say anything about it. But a couple of days later, she said she got a text. She sent me the screenshot that said her name, and then Kash Patel's loyalty is only to Trump. He's too focused on scoring political points to solve critical CO issues like the opioid crisis. Tell Senator and the senator's name, and then a link. And so she got this text out of the blue, and she goes, "Our phones are always tracking. This is beyond creepy." So it was tracked that I had sent her this podcast, and then she automatically gets sent this text a couple of days later that says like, "Hey,"
terrifying.
And that's happening everywhere.
It is happening.
And so go listen to that podcast. It's super interesting and super insightful, and that's happening in Canada too. And in Canada, there's way less. I mean, you talk about the National Post being somewhat like good at reporting, but if your
I
parents,
mean, it's anybody that was left leaning would say it was a right leaning rag, right? That's the problem. Like,
I don't know.
well, it's
when
super
you're
pro-Israel. It's, you know, it's
when you're using
like I love
the podcast, you mean, or
the National Post.
Oh, National Post. Okay.
Sorry. Are you talking about our podcast?
No, this Kash Patel.
No, I don't know what Kash Patel.
But yeah, but also like if you have parents, you know, that only listen to CBC News or like mainstream media stuff like that,
they're in deep trouble.
yeah, send them this podcast and stuff like that. Like
trouble.
Because I had a buddy that we both know that came over. He's in his 70s, and he went on a rant about Trump and stuff like that. And I was like, you only listen to CBC News. That's your only. And I'm not saying this is like you can't criticize and stuff like that. We should, but the mainstream media definitely sets the narrative a lot on what people are thinking and doing.
I would say that most people we know just live in a vacuum.
Well, yeah.
It's pretty hard not to, right? You have to really stretch yourself to be listening to something that you really disagree with, because we all kind of have our frame of reference and then we just start building on that, right? We don't look to have our ideology challenged. So,
yeah, sure. Interesting.
I feel like we got to wrap her up soon. Are we doing the book today or not?
Yeah, we do the book too. Yeah.
Okay, can we do the book next or not? So we're not ending on the book?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Yeah. We're only at 22 minutes, I think.
Oh, it feels like we've been talking a long time.
Gluttony. Hey guys, if you enjoyed that episode and were blessed by it, would you be willing to support the show? That would help a lot in creating more content, improving the quality of the content, putting the production value, getting more guests on, and me being able to spend more time and energy towards it. So if you're interested in doing that, you can click up here and it'll take you to a support page. But you can also subscribe to the podcast by clicking over here and doing that. Thanks again for listening, and I'll catch you on the next one.